Some people have had this question from the exam for prep. Use the coding matrix A, which is a 2x2 matrix with columns -1, 2, and -3, 5, to encode the message CARE. So we are caring people, and we want to send a message to someone to care, except it's a dangerous message, so we have to encode it. And that's the purpose of this coding matrix. And the people on the other end of this message, they also have this coding matrix. And so once they get this matrix that we're going to send, they're going to use A here to decode, and then they'll get the message to CARE, and then we'll all be caring people together. Well, the way it works is you take this coding matrix, okay, a 2x2, and you multiply it by a matrix representing the message CARE. Now, the way this works, and the reason I think people have question about it, is not exactly the way you might expect. Because, well, I mean, we can look at this and we can say, okay, the letter C is the third letter of the alphabet, and the letter A is the first letter of the alphabet. R is the 18th letter of the alphabet, and E is the 5th letter of the alphabet. And so we just need to make a matrix of that kind. Well, we might think that it should be CARE, 3, 1, row 1 is 3, 1, and row 2 is 18, 5. But it's not going to be that, contrary to what you might have picked up in, say, the textbook or some other place. For this problem, it's CARE. We go column by column. So 3, 1, 18, 5. Then we will just multiply these matrices, which actually it's good to have this occasion to do this problem, because matrix multiplication, it's a struggle at first. Well, these two matrices can be multiplied. We've got a 2x2 and another 2x2. Okay, so in the margin here, we'll do our common little, okay, the first matrix, the one on the left. By the way, the one on the left has to be the coding matrix, also known as the key, in this case matrix A. That has to be on the left. If you put it on the right, you get a whole other message, and the people on the other end won't know to care, and we want them to know to care. So key, and then message, the unencoded message. First matrix that we have is a 2x2. The second one is also a 2x2. And the only reason that we are able to do the matrix multiplication is that the number of columns in the first matrix is the same as the number of rows in the second matrix. Okay, these are the same. And the result will be a 2x2 matrix. Again, 2 rows, 2 columns. Okay, so result is going to be, again, a 2x2 matrix. Not a big news flash that when you multiply 2 2x2 matrices, the result is a 2x2 matrix. Not totally obvious either. But let's put this in the margin and talk a little bit about multiplication, matrix multiplication in general. Well, we had to get those dimensions, so we could say this is going to be a 2x2 matrix for the product. So we're going to give ourselves lots of room here. And they're going to be, that doesn't look very good. Let's clean that up a little bit. There are obviously 4 entries to this matrix. And every entry is the product of a row matrix and a column matrix. And I always like to draw this circle, to abuse the word circle, to let me know what is supposed to go into row 1, column 1. And so to get row 1, column 1, we're going to multiply row 1 of the first matrix, -1, -3, by column 1 of the second matrix, 3, 1. We are also going to use this row matrix, -1, -3, for row 1, column 2. -1, -3. And we're going to multiply that by the column matrix, this time 18, 5. 18, 5. 18, 5 will also be used for column 2, row 2. So let's write that down, 18, 5. And of course, multiplied by that will be the second row of the first matrix, 2, 5. Which will also be used for the second row of this product, first column, and that will be multiplied by column 1 of the second matrix, the column matrix, 3, 1. Well, every time that we multiply a row matrix and a column matrix, it's always the first entry in each. Okay, so the first entry in each get multiplied together, and the second entry in each get multiplied together, and then we add the results. And that number is going to be the entry in row 1, column 1 of the 2 by 2 matrix that we're going to have for the answer. So let's set up our 2 by 2. And so in this case, it's going to be -1 times 3. And then we're going to multiply -3 by 1. Both of those products are -3. And we'll add those. So we've got a -3 for the -1 times 3, first entry in each, and a -3 for the -3 times 1. And so in the answer, we're going to have a -6 in row 1, column 1. -6. Well, let's see. This one is 6, that's 2 times 3, 6 plus 5, which are 11. 6 plus 5, which are 11. In row 2, column 1, we're going to have -1 times 18, so -18, and a -3 times a 5, which is a -15. Add those together and you have -33 in row 1, column 2 of the answer. And the last one is going to be 36 plus 25. 2 times 18, or 36, plus 5 times 5, or 25, 61 is the row 2, column 2 entry. And so this encoded matrix here at the bottom will be sent, and with the key, the coding matrix, the people on the other end will be able to do themselves a matrix multiplication in order to get that message to CARE.